pod bay doors, please, Hal.
The pod bay doors are slightly ajar. Welcome once again to one of our mini episodes. We don't know if we're going to be doing one of these every week, but so far there's been stuff to talk about. I'm Doug Heller, your host, film critic and film historian for TalkMovieToMe.com, here, as always, with my co-host, Jerry Dean Roberts of ArmchairCinema.com, ArmchairOscars.com, and OverThinkingOscars.wordpress.com. Jerry, how we doing?
My mind is racing today.
We're recording this the day after the Star Wars Episode 9 title and trailer dropped. The Rise of Skywalker.
Which is exciting, but at the same time is also a little confusing.
Yeah.
I'm confused by the title.
My friend Ben said that there's an internet rumor going around that Jedi might take on the name Skywalker instead of Jedi after this.
Well, I think closer to the bone, it's probably Rey's a Skywalker in some way.
I don't know if they would. I thought that, but the only way that I could rectify that without them retconning Last Jedi would be if the people that she thought were her parents that abandoned her on Jakku were legal guardians that sold her for drinking money. They were poorly chosen legal guardians.
Yeah.
And Rey might still be connected with everything family-wise. I genuinely don't want her to be.
Yeah, I don't want her to be either. I do like the opening.
Oh, man.
1,000 generations of Jedi are now on your shoulders. I'm thinking, no pressure.
No pressure. Hey, she put back together the lightsaber. She's got to have some astronomical power. Although the Kyber crystal wasn't damaged, as far as I can recall from Last Jedi, so
just the housing.
Right. So you fix the housing or replicate it somehow. And
let me tell you something. I can't think of another film series in which the trailers generate this kind of excitement, this kind of buzz. Now, the MCU does a little bit.
To a point, as it's gone on, it's generated more buzz from the trailers.
Depends on what it is.
Right.
Now, Endgame has developed a lot of buzz, but not anywhere near to this degree.
Well, no, because this is major.
Well, you remember when Force Awakens came out?
I do.
It was like a teaser that was less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And everybody in the world went crazy about it.
And there's already probably hundreds of posts. Here's what you missed inside in the Episode 9 trailer. Here's some of the things that we think that some of this means, and
I don't do that. I don't analyze.
I can't, because there's not enough information.
Right.
And Rian Johnson said that they actively misdirected with the Last Jedi trailer. All of them, which when that one first hit, and Rey's by the fire, and she says, "I need somebody to show me my place in all this," and then Kylo Ren sticks out his hand. My sister was like, "Oh, hey, I hope she doesn't take his hand," and I said, "Those are two different scenes."
Yeah.
You can see the fire behind him, but it's obviously a stationary point in front of her. They're different scenes. But if you're not paying that close attention, or if you didn't watch it 75 times in the first day, like I did, you won't get
it's
that.
Just it's always exciting. It is always exciting for a Star Wars teaser. Even Solo had an exciting teaser when it came out on
and Solo is a good, fun movie.
It was.
It's not wonderful, but it's definitely rewatchable.
It was a nice side item.
Right.
You don't make a meal of it, but it was a nice side item. It had its problems, which we will talk about, because during the month of May, we're going to talk about all the Star Wars movies.
Maybe we'll even have another trailer to talk about.
Maybe we'll even have another trailer to talk about. Who knows? You should know Doug and I insane Star Wars fans. I mean, me and my wife are insane Star Wars fans.
My priorities in life are family, closely followed by Star Wars, and then Batman, and then all the other films. So,
Birth, movies,
yeah,
birth, family, movies, Star Wars, death. And squeeze Batman so worth it.
I would watch Star Wars before I would watch probably anything else.
Are you? Do you actively watch trailers?
No,
I don't either. I enjoy them when I'm in the theater.
right. I like them in the theater, but unless it's a movie like this or the MCU now,
Mm.
um, I don't really. I never really did pay attention to them. I like walking into a movie knowing as little as possible.
I like going in cold.
Yeah.
Um, I
Sometimes that's not possible,
I will
but
never know. I will never know the experience of going into a Star Wars movie cold again, ever. I will
no.
never know that because the advertising around these things is insane.
Yes.
Um, but I actively, I'm not one of these that sits and just actively watches every trailer.
No.
I will, like I say, enjoy them while I'm in the theater
Hmm.
because you can't avoid it.
You could leave.
You could leave, but I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of part of the experience.
Hmm.
I've been in the, I'll be honest, I've been in the movie. I've gone to see certain movies and gotten so wrapped up in the trailers because of the theatrical experience. Gotten so wrapped up in the trailers that I'm sitting there thinking, the movie starts and I'm like, oh, I could probably watch another trailer. But when I'm in the theater, I can
Right.
enjoy it. I
Right.
won't sit and watch them generally, on the computer or anything.
Right. I don't either, unless again it's something like this.
Well, advertising for movies has gotten crazy. I mean,
Oh well, yeah. It's. I mean, when they release those budget numbers, and they're like, oh, this was an $80 million movie.
because of the advertising.
Really, yeah, really, it was like probably 40 or 50 million dollars, and they spent 40 or 30 million dollars on advertising and overhead.
My inspiration, my mentor, my Yoda was Roger Ebert, who said, "The trailer will show you the movie they wish they made."
Yeah,
Because
I've
they,
seen plenty of trailers that are just nothing
yeah,
like what the movie like. What
I've
was it
seen
like?
some trailers with scenes that weren't even in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Rogue One did that a lot because they put out the first trailer before they did the reshoots.
Right.
Um, Collateral Beauty. The trailer is a movie I would have watched. The
Unfortunately, you
movie,
did.
unfortunately, I did, and I didn't see the movie that was advertised.
Here's my rule also. If you ever see a trailer for a comedy and the trailer doesn't make you laugh, the
Nothing in the
movie won't
film
make you
will,
laugh.
because they put their best stuff in the trailers.
Right, because they put the best jokes in the trailer. Now that can be retroactive because some of it can be stuff that won't fit for a trailer. But
Hmm.
generally, as a rule, it is that if you're not laughing in the trailer, you're not going to laugh in the movie.
Right.
Um, I
Or if you're not
remember,
excited by a trailer, you won't be excited by the movie.
and I don't know if you've ever had this experience. It's like you see a really, really, really funny gag in the trailer, and then you go to see the movie,
And you're waiting for that one piece, and it's not there.
or you see that one piece, and it's like everybody in the theater's already heard that gag, and nobody really laughs.
Right.
I will never forget going to see the trailer for Men in Black 2.
Ugh.
And there's a scene where,
That was a trailer that was a lot better than the movie.
yeah, there's a scene where Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are standing on the sidewalk, and the car pulls up, and the driver is basically an airbag, and he gets sucked into the steering wheel.
Hmm.
And Tommy Lee Jones says, "Does that come standard?" He says, "Well, it used to come with a black dude, but he kept getting pulled over." That's a funny gag,
That is.
and is the funniest gag in the movie.
It's the only funny gag in the
It's the
movie.
only funny gag in the movie.
The movie's
And
terrible.
I watched the movie and I'm like, oh, that was funny because but I've already heard it.
Yeah.
It was just
But I love what they've been doing with these new uh, Star Wars trailers. They're not giving you anything. They're giving you glimpses at what some of the stuff looks like. They're giving you the barest possible indication of the plot.
little appetizers.
Right. And little things thrown in wholly and completely out of sequence. So there's no way to gauge when they go to wherever they go with the Death Star debris, whether it's Yavin 4 or Endor. And I think it's Endor, because being Yavin 4, the Emperor wasn't on that one.
Right.
And Palpatine does laugh at the end of this. Cackle. He cackles.
He's in the movie.
You're sure?
He is because he was at Comic Con. And
Well, he came out to say, let's see it again.
Right.
And that was the only thing he said.
and he's in the cast listing.
Oh, he is?
However reliable you think the IMDb is.
Well,
um,
I think,
the
like
IMDb
I was...
is basically the IMDb. I'm sorry, the IMDb basically is the inmates running the asylum. So
For current movies, it's fairly unreliable. For
Right.
older movies that are, at least out, the credit listings are.
well, the fact that
pretty
he
reliable.
went to Comic Con
Yeah.
tells me that he's probably in the movie.
Or, what, Star Wars Celebration is what it was.
Or Celebration, yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he went to Celebration, it tells me that he's probably in
He's
the movie.
probably in it.
Um,
And how great was it to see Billy D. Williams flying the Millennium Falcon again?
it was nice. It was nice.
And he's obviously having fun.
Yeah. The only thing is, this there's a pattern here that disturbs me.
Well,
Is
what
that
was
every
it?
time every
I
time
saw I saw a meme. Every time an old character shows up and is a main part of the plot, they die.
yeah, that's
It's
just
like
exactly what I was about to say.
I saw a meme that had Episode 7. Han Solo's in Episode 7. Han Solo dies in Episode 7. Luke Skywalker is in Episode 8. Luke Skywalker dies in Episode 8. Lando was in Episode 9, and then it has a picture of Billy D. Williams going, "This deal is getting worse all the time." Because
Well, and the really head scratcher is it's Carrie Fisher. How
well, I
much
know
is
they said that they were writing a subplot for her that incorporated unused elements from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Now, these could either be flashbacks that she could have died and they could be flashing back to something that she said to incorporate her into the movie. Apparently she's been woven seamlessly into the movie. Or this
Is
could
it-
just be setting up to see her go.
scenes of Last Jedi that weren't used?
Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, so somehow they've blended the two. And
The thing is, how
gotten it
much of
to
the movie
work.
is she actually in?
I'm sure not much. Probably a couple of scenes.
Well, it's yeah. Again, I don't analyze these things. I can talk about them; they're fun, but I don't analyze them because I remember when Force Awakens came out. Some friends of mine were watching some friends of mine at work were watching the trailer, and they were just nitpicking little things. Turned out every single thing they thought was just completely wrong.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, that's why I don't. I'm with you. I don't try to. I pore over the details to see if it's going to give any kind of indication as to where anything's going to go, but I don't sit there and theorize and think, well, this means that this is going to happen, and this means that that's going to happen, because that's just setting yourself up for disappointment.
Right. It's just not a. Yeah.
Right.
Trailers by themselves. Trailers are becoming art by themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That are immediately disposed of as soon as the movie comes out. That
Well, then they started putting them onto DVDs, and
yeah.
there
Well, they've
is
been
a
putting on the DVDs.
there. Well, yeah, for decades, there's a subculture that really appreciates trailers and will go back and rewatch trailers even after the movie's out.
There's a small culture of people that don't like trailers anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the people who do voice work because they used to have narrators.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have narrators in.
No.
The movie just sells itself.
Right.
What drives me crazy is that trailers nowadays, movies, a lot of movies, the more trailers and the more ads you throw at the audience, the movie will succeed in spite of itself.
Right.
Anything that comes out of Illumination, the animation studio,
Yeah.
they do aggressive advertising.
Right. For movies, I like the Despicable Me movies, and the minute they're cute,
Yeah,
I laugh a lot with them. Um, but all of their other movies,
yeah, like Secret Life of Pets.
I
Secret Life of
didn't. I
Pets.
hated Secret Life of Pets.
Secret Life of Pets was. I think I walked out of that and I told my wife. I said, "Well, I might have liked it better if it were the movie that the trailer was selling me."
The trailer would have made a wonderful film,
Right,
but instead we got Toy Story with dogs.
right.
And
Basically, and I wrote in my review, what do pets do when you're not around? Well, I guarantee you, my pets don't go downtown and get in car chases.
right,
No,
uh,
sleep all day.
yeah, pretty much. Uh, and then there was Sing, which I was not a fan of
Did Sing feel
particularly.
like 10 years too late?
Oh, absolutely.
It was like that movie should have come out at the height of American Idol.
Right.
It was like, but what drives me crazy about Illumination is they were advertising Sing on the posters and in the trailers for Secret Life of Pets, and Secret Life of Pets hadn't come out yet.
Right.
Um, a friend of mine went to see a preview of, and this will tell you something about Illumination, I guess. Went to see, um, went to see the movie in a special preview like a month before,
Hmm.
and he said, sometimes when you go to see these previews, some people will come down to the front of the theater, maybe from the studio or maybe from the theater chain or whatever, and they'll basically welcome you to the movie.
Hmm.
He said, this was in Alabama. He said there was a woman and two very large men,
Hmm.
and they had Russian accents.
Hmm.
You are the first audience in Alabama to see this movie. Please turn cell phones off.
Oh, it was similar. I don't remember the Russian accent, but I saw Sing in an advanced preview as well. And yeah, they were very hard nosed. I saw
Illumination in it for the Russian mob.
do they have negotiation deals in the steam rooms that devolve into Eastern promises?
Right. Let me see your tattoos.
Yeah.
But it's like he said it was just the most surreal experience. It's like,
Yeah. Well, when I went to go see, I saw an advanced preview of the most recent Blair Witch movie
mhm.
a couple
I'm
years
sorry.
ago. Ugh.
I'm sorry.
But they actually made me hand over my cell phone before I went into the theater.
Oh, they tried that one time. I went to see that Mandela movie, and they tried that. I was like, no, I'll just turn it off and keep it in my pocket. I'm not giving my phone. But yeah, they do that with a lot of Christian movies here. And I saw one. It was recently. It was called. You're gonna love this. It's a Christian movie called The Overcomer. And
That doesn't sound like it belongs in a Christian film.
it's the most ridiculous movie I've ever seen in my life. But they wanted to take.
You haven't seen Winter's Tale yet, and you will.
No, I haven't seen Winter's Tale. They wanted to take my cell phone, and I was like, no, I'll keep it in my pocket. And they wanted me to keep it, wanting me to keep it in my car, and I'm like, no, I'm not putting it in my car. I'll keep it with me. Thank you. Now, if the Russian guys from Sing were there, I probably would have handed it over.
Sure.
But no, these.
That way they could data mine while the movie's playing. put tracker chips and stuff in them.
Yeah, but these advertisements that come out, they get really aggressive, and they throw millions and millions and
Hmm.
millions of dollars into these things, particularly when they're selling a movie to kids,
Hmm.
because they'll do
Saturation helps keep it in the kids' heads.
right, and that's why I say the movies succeed in spite of themselves.
Hmm.
Um, there's a movie that's opening this weekend. It's called Missing Link,
Hmm.
which they're doing it right because they have just enough. It's just enough advertising.
Well, it's like it. So
It's like a yeah.
they know that by saying that and what their other movies are and giving you clips, that's going to sell the movie because they always do pretty high quality
Yeah,
stuff.
they're the ones that did Paranorman,
Paranorman,
and they do the box. They didn't do the
they
box
did the
trolls.
Box Trolls and Coraline.
Yeah.
Coraline is wonderful.
Disney, I think, realizes they don't have to advertise as much.
Right.
They do enough, but they're not aggressive. Anybody that's chasing Disney feels like they have to be aggressive.
Hmm.
But coming back to Star Wars,
Doesn't it always come back to Star Wars?
it's you come back to Star. The thing is, they don't have to do a trailer at all.
No.
They don't have to do anything because
They could have waited and had everybody at the premiere sign NDAs and waited until people were in their seats to reveal even the subtitle was.
yeah,
But people would be losing their minds in the middle of the crawl and miss half of everything.
but it's a hell of a PR move
Oh yeah,
to release something like what we got yesterday,
yeah.
and it's
Because there's so much yet so little, and
yeah,
it's kind of perfect.
and it puts it in the and it's big news.
Hmm.
I never thought in my lifetime that the two biggest news items on any one given news day would be Star Wars and Julian Assange. I went to a news feed. I literally
That
saw
is a
those three.
really interesting. We do live in interesting times.
I literally saw those two stories side by side on a news feed yesterday. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to Star Wars. I'm always
I am I am out of my mind with excitement.
yeah, I am too.
I'm angry that it's December, but I'm also very happy that it's December
I'm
because
angry that I don't know what's next. Thing is,
yeah,
I always know what's next when it comes to a Star Wars movie.
right. And now we know. I think the Game of Thrones guys, their trilogy. Kathleen Kennedy said that the next saga they do is going to last a decade.
Okay.
So they'll either do take 1 year off and then do one saga movie a year and do nine, or space out a trilogy or a more rounded out, interconnected universe for the next 10 years.
I want my Obi-Wan movie.
I want my Obi-Wan movie, and I want an Old Republic movie.
Yeah.
I want a Sith Wars movie with Darth Bane, and a trilogy of that would be amazing. Um, or just anything set way back, the 25,000 years before the
Yeah.
Republic and all that kind of stuff when the Jedi were first forming and splitting apart and doing light and the dark, the Ashla and the Bogda. I think that would be really fun.
Well, yeah, just
Expand the lore.
yeah, expand the lore, open the world a little bit, do
Yeah,
what Lucas had promised to do and never did.
right. Did
But
you hear what he said his third trilogy, his 7, 8, and 9 would have been?
hmm,
He said his original plan was to take everybody where we'd never gone in a Star Wars movie, but it was going to be subatomic.
Hmm.
It was going to go down into, I guess, the midichlorians and go into a subatomic nature of the force kind of thing and explore possibly the wills and what they are. And
How about studying the origin of the wills?
because the only time we've ever actually seen the wills, or at least we think we've seen the wills, the only time that they're named on screen is in Rogue One, but the only time that we really see them are the force entities that train Yoda in how to retain his individuality in the Force.
Right.
That's in season 6 of the Clone Wars.
I'm not there yet. I'm working my way through Clone Wars. All right.
Yeah, he gets contacted by Qui-Gon Jinn and goes on this quest to be trained on how to do.
I'm blazing my way. I'm blazing a trail through. I'm blazing through Clone Wars at the moment. I'm on season 2. So
It gets so good so fast.
yeah, I hope it does because the first season is so episodic, and the animation is so crummy.
They really, the animation gets a lot better, and they start doing arcs. The last, like, I think seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6 are nothing but like 4 and 5 episode arcs.
Yeah.
So it's like old Doctor Who style, like you watch a half an hour and then the next week is the continuation of that. After 4 or 5 weeks, you get a new story, but it's all still connected.
Well, if I can get through all of this, I'm gonna try to get through all of this. We're gonna talk about this. I believe in about the third week of our Star Wars month.
Yeah, that should be about where that falls. So you do have a little bit of time.
Our first week of Star Wars month, the first week in May, it's the original trilogy. Then we're going to do the prequel trilogy, second week. And the sequel duology, as it stands right now, third week, which is Force Awakens, Last Jedi. And then the last week, we're going to end it with the sidequels.
The
Rogue
anthology
One,
films.
Yeah, Rogue One, Solo. And we're going to fit the TV shows in here. So that's what we got.
I'm looking forward to that. I think that about wraps it up here on this mini episode of the Pod Bay Doors. You can find all of our stuff at www.thepodbaydoorspodcast.wordpress.com and subscribe to us on iTunes.
We're on iTunes. Hey.
We are now on iTunes. You can subscribe to us. We have probably a little bit over half of our episodes on there. If you want the initial ones, you can find them at thepodbaydoorspodcast.wordpress.com. Yes. You can find us on Twitter at pod_bay, and you can find us on Patreon. Throw a tip into our virtual tip jar on Patreon at pod_bay. When you're looking on iTunes, do a search for the Pod Bay Doors podcast with Doug and Jerry, because we found out after it was too late to change that there are a lot of podcasts called Pod Bay Doors. The full Pod Bay Doors podcast with Doug and Jerry is where we are. You'll see our familiar logo with Hal, the eye of Hal, and our quote there. So we look forward to seeing you there. And the Pod Bay Doors are now closed.
The mission has been completed.